I'm here with Paul at the Microsoft Startup Showcase. Hi Paul, can you tell us in one sentence, what does your company do?
My company Tachyus builds software to optimize energy production in the oil and gas industry.
Excellent. I have another question for you. If your company were an animal, what animal would that be?
Well, my spirit animal is the lobster because the lobster is immortal. And as a CEO, I think that's also the spirit animal for the company.
Excellent. That's really funny.
Hi, I'm Paul. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Tachyus. I want to tell you about my company, but before I do that, I need to make sure that you understand the plot of Back to the Future 2. So who's seen that movie in the audience? Can I get a show of hands? Okay, so it looks like most, but not all. So I'll go through the plot really quickly to make sure that you're on the same page. So it's basically about this high school kid and his friend who's a disgraced nuclear physicist who build a time machine, fly to 2015, and figure out that their nemesis is there, and their nemesis steals the time machine and takes a sports almanac back to his former self in 1955. And with that sports almanac, their nemesis is able to bet profitably on sports games for the next 50 years and become a gambling tycoon. So why do I bring this up? The thesis kind of my company and of this movie is that if you can predict the future, you can make profitable decisions today. So we don't have a sports almanac available, but there are plenty of ways that we can try and predict the future using data. So my co-founders and I are all physicists by background. And the way you usually predict the future in physics is with differential equations. And you solve differential equations to figure out what's going to happen. There are plenty of other ways that you can predict the future using data that are more statistical, and you look at the past data and you infer what the future data will look like. What we've done, and our thought is that the best way to predict the future is by combining these two paradigms, by using physics to constrain data science, and by using data science to quicken and augment physical simulations. So we looked around and we looked at the most important industries in the world and looked for applications of data physics. And we discovered the oil and gas industry. The oil and gas industry is one of the most important industries on the planet. It's a $4 trillion industry. It's the reason most of us were able to get here today. It's the reason most of us ate today. So we, as Tachyus, we seek to create technology to optimize oil and gas production with data physics. Let me show you how data physics works in oil and gas. So one of the key problems in the oil and gas industry is finding out where oil is underground. And this is a solution to a 2D differential equation. So basically, to find where the oil is, typically you break the reservoir up into squares or cubes, and you solve the equation numerically until you have kind of a heat map of where all the oil is. This takes weeks or months on a conventional simulation tool, but when you solve the equations with neural networks, you get a much higher resolution image, and you get it 100 or 1,000 times faster. Another thing you want to do is predict how much oil is going to come out of the ground from a given well or a group of wells. And this basically means taking a time series of oil production and extrapolating into the future. So with just physics, you might solve a regression problem with a physical model. But with data science amplifying your physics, you're able to train an ensemble of models and forecast a range of possible futures. So this is what the Tachyus time machine looks like, in analogy to Back to the Future. We predict not just one future, but a future with some uncertainty built in. And we can actually calculate both risk and reward. So in Back to the Future, the decision space is what do I bet on as Biff Tannen? Do I bet on one team or the other over the next 50 years? So you can imagine over 50 years, there are thousands of different possibilities of betting on Team A or Team B. And all of these add up to one metric of risk or reward or cost. So the analogy for Tachyus is that we take an operational plan for an oil field, which is also composed of thousands of decisions, and we map those with our predictive engine into one point in the space of production versus cost or risk or any other metric in the financial decision-making process. So with our predictive engine that runs, again, hundreds or thousands of times faster than its competitors, we're able to evolve from the base scenario and find a whole range of optimal scenarios using genetic algorithms. So this is an example of this is actually a direct screenshot taken out of our product. At the bottom there, you can see is the base scenario or the operational plan that our customer was originally intending to follow. After running it through the Tachyus optimization platform, we found up the y-axis, which represents total value of the field over 15 years, a range of optimal operational plans that the customer could follow. So choosing our plan, which is the diamond up top, instead of their triangle below, this corresponds to a $6 million increase in net present value over a 15-year period. So this is just one field out of 10 for this customer. For this particular customer, we discovered over $100 million of optimization opportunities over the next 15 years. And we've actually rolled out with this customer using our software as a service product a series of plans to help them implement and get toward the optimal operational plan. Our first couple of deployments have been in California, where about 10% of US oil production is, across 8 operators and over 10,000 wells. And across all of our customers, we've seen an increase in their ROI. So all of our customers are operating profitably at this point, but we've taken them to 200% or 300% of their profitable operation at this point. So the key line from Back to the Future, I think, is that the future is what you make of it, and you should make it a good one. And with Tachyus, for one of the most important industries in the world, oil and gas, we want to continue to help make the future a good one. Thank you.